The incel rebellion has already begun. We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys, the so-called incel rebellion. Incel is short for involuntary celibate, someone who wants to have sex but can't.
Story out of Toronto where we now know that police have been questioning the driver behind the wheel of this white van who basically mowed people down for as long as a mile. This is north of Toronto. This is right around 1:30.
The anti-women movement has existed even before the internet, and the Montreal massacre is an example of it.
The worst mass murder in Canadian history appears to have been triggered by the suspect's hatred of women.
A crazed gunman burst into a classroom, ordering the male students to leave. He then began a deadly rampage.
Leaving behind a manifesto about women not wanting to have sex with him. Voluntary celibate.
To incel ideology.
This is it. This is the day of retribution.
10 people died here today. 15 people were seriously injured. I think it's important to ask how you feel about that.
I feel like I accomplished my mission.
On April 23, 2018, the city of Toronto was taken by storm when 25-year-old Alek Minassian drove his rented white Chevrolet Express van southbound on the busy intersection sidewalk of Yonge and Finch. He proceeded to kill 10 innocent people while injuring 16 others. A witness at the scene said that Minassian looked the victims directly in the eye during the attack and acted as if he was, quote, playing a video game, trying to kill as many people as possible. The damaged van was intercepted by Constable Ken Lamb on Points Avenue, just over 2 kilometers away from where the attack had begun. Upon contact, Minassian attempted murder by officer by repeatedly pointing his phone at Lamb while yelling, quote, "Kill me," hoping the officer would mistake his phone for a gun and shoot him. Upon closer inspection, Constable Lamb realized the object he was holding was not a gun, which prompted him to holster his weapon and make the arrest. Among those killed were 2 22-year-old university students and a 94-year-old retiree. The search for a motive leading to this horrendous crime led officers down a dark, twisted path into the mind of a very disturbed individual, and the online hate group which encouraged him to carry out the attack. Shortly prior to the attack, Minassian posted on his Facebook page the following message, quote, "The incel rebellion has already begun. We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys. All hail the Supreme Gentleman Elliot Rodger." End quote. This left officers with 2 questions. What is an incel? And who is Elliot Rodger? While the word incel became a household term in recent years due to various mass attacks and shootings, which were carried out in its name, it has actually been around since 1993. The term is generally associated with men. However, interestingly enough, it was created by a woman named Alana in the same city Minassian carried out his devastating attack. The community was supposed to be a safe place where people who identified as incels could talk about their frustrations and feelings. However, it snowballed into something completely different than what she imagined. The term incel is short for involuntary celibate, which by definition refers to a group of members of society who claim they cannot find a romantic or sexual partner despite wanting to, hence the word involuntary. They believe they can never find love because of a certain set of physical characteristics given to them at birth, which were out of their control, like physical appearance, ethnicity, and height. The social ridicule these individuals face leads them to believe the whole world is evil and against them simply for being born. As a result, many incels become bitter and angry social recluses who are looking for revenge on society. Alek Minassian recounted the moment which began his downward spiral that eventually led him to carry out the attack.
My name's Rob Thomas.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? How are you? You doing okay? That incident, the time that you got arrested, you were on or near the area of Yonge Street earlier today. Is that right? And a police officer told you that you were going to be placed under arrest. And he placed you under arrest. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Okay. Do you remember what he arrested you for?
I believe I may have been arrested for something similar to murder.
I've done a little bit of reading, and I know a little bit about involuntary
Celibacy.
Celibacy, right? So being celibate. It was Elliot Rodger who was the father. Of
basically,
this.
the founding forefather of the entire movement.
Right, right. So explain to me this movement. What's this movement about?
It's basically It's basically a movement of angry incels, such as myself, who are unable to get laid. Therefore, we want to overthrow the Chads, which would force the Stacys to be forced to reproduce with the incels.
Right. Okay. When you say incels,
involuntary celibate.
Celibate. So that's just a short form for fellas who
can't get laid.
Can't have sex. Right. Okay.
On Halloween of 2013, I was attending a house party, and I walked in and attempted to socialize with some girls. However, they all laughed at me and held the arms of the big guys instead. A beta uprising, if you will, against the Chads and the Stacys.
So is it fair to say you've got Chads and Stacys up here, normies down here, and then you've got celebs who believe that they are being repressed? Incels, sorry.
Yes.
Incels who believe they're being suppressed or repressed, yes. And so as a result, to even the playing field.
Yes.
They convert the Stacys and Chads from living to dead, and to make
so that we come out on top.
Yeah, more than so. Is there so the targets? Who would the targets for this uprising be?
All of the alpha males.
All the alpha males. So the Chads.
Yes.
So those are the people that you want to kill.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And who else?
Any of the Stacys who do not wish to give their love and affection to the incels.
So they're a target as well.
Yes.
To be killed.
Yes.
Incels have the mentality that if I can't have it, no one can, which is what pushes these individuals over the edge to commit such horrendous acts, like Minassian's van attack. The whole incel subculture revolves around a theory called the black pill, which is an umbrella term for a set of social rules which govern society. They believe that the world is segregated into certain classes of people. The first one being the elite men and women of society, known as Chads and Stacys, who live beautiful lives filled with romance, love, and laughter, and get the peak experience in life, which incels attribute to their good looks and social standings. Under them is a group referred to as normies, which is the average everyday individual. And while they don't live the same extravagant lives as Chads and Stacys, they can still have a happy and fruitful one, with meaningful relationships. The bottom of the social hierarchy is the incels. They believe that through no fault of their own, they are cursed with a lonely existence, and just drift through their miserable lives until their eventual deaths. A prime theory incels subscribe to, which is at the base of the black pill, is the 80-20 rule, in which it's believed that 80% of society's women are chasing the top 20% of attractive, wealthy men, while 80% of men are fighting for the bottom 20% of women. According to this theory, even the average man would have a very hard time finding a romantic conquest, whereas it would be literally impossible for the lowest of the 80%. This is because incels firmly believe all women are attracted only to alpha males, which are men with looks, money, and status, and could never be truly happy with a regular man. The catchphrase of the black pill community is, quote, "It was over before it even began," or shortened simply to, quote, "It's over." The implication of the sentence is that you are either born attractive or not, and incels believe that if you did not win the genetic lottery, your life is essentially over at conception, hence the before it started part. They believe women are attracted to characteristics you are given at birth, such as your physical appearance, height, shoulder width, and ethnicity. And if these are not in your favor, you're essentially doomed to a life of eternal loneliness and depression, which is why they say, "It's over." They're saying they will never even have a chance to experience what regular people will because of some factors that were out of their control. Thus, their life is already over. To fully understand the black pill theory, we must know where it originated from. The black pill has its roots in another very controversial forum started on Reddit by the name of the Red Pill. This forum was founded in 2012 by a 31-year-old Republican lawmaker from New Hampshire named Robert Fisher under the alias PK Atheist. After many, quote, uncomfortable experiences with women, Fisher created the Forum for Men's Rights, where he voiced certain misogynistic views, saying things like, quote, "I treat women like they're subordinate creatures, and suddenly they respect me." Fisher was later forced to resign from his government position after it was discovered he was at the forefront of this forum. While the original Red Pill forum was rooted in misogyny, it became a social phenomenon among millions of men, with over 200,000 followers at the time it was officially banned by Reddit. It became a place where men could discuss their rights and sexual strategy, helping other young men on their life journey and teaching many how to communicate with women. The name The Red Pill is an allusion to the movie The Matrix, where the main character Neo was given the option between a red pill and a blue pill, in which the blue pill would keep him in a simulated version of reality like nothing happened, and the red pill would show him the truth of the world. The forum was made to teach men the reality of women and how to have success with them, as well as the reality of life in general, using scientific evidence and social theories, showing men how the world really works, exactly how the red pill showed Neo how his world really worked beyond the simulation, hence the forum's name. The blue pill in this scenario would mean blindly adhering to social constructs you've been brought up to believe and being tricked by society, just like Neo would have been forever tricked by the simulation had he taken the blue pill in the movie. The analogy is quite brilliant, which is a big reason as to why the Red Pill forum was so hugely successful, because it made a difficult concept very easy to understand using a popular movie. The black pill, on the other hand, was created by incels as a way of differentiating from the red pill theory and became its own dark version of reality. While the red pill and black pill do share many ideologies, there's a key difference between the two. The red pill was a usually positive forum, set on helping men achieve their goals, whereas the black pill is pure hopelessness with no light at the end of the tunnel, hence the name. The red pill and black pill agreed on many things, such as women being primarily attracted to alpha males, and your physical attractiveness being very important in the search for a partner. However, where they differed is in the fact that the red pill encouraged young men to, quote, become the alpha, and improve their lives through things like working out and creating meaningful relationships, whereas the black pill taught its followers that there is no hope if you did not win the genetic lottery, and you shouldn't even try to improve your life, because it will lead nowhere. The black pill was a very radical and dangerous belief, because it led young men who could have had potential in life down a very dark path, as they didn't even believe it was even worth trying. Young men like Elliot Rodger, who's the second unknown in this equation. So, who was Elliot Rodger, the mysterious character who was praised by Alek Minassian shortly before the Toronto van attack? It turns out, Rodger was another involuntary celibate, who on May 23rd of 2014 went on a rampage in Isla Vista, California. His spree began inside his own home, in which Rodger used 2 long fixed-blade knives, including a nearly 9-inch boar hunting knife, to kill James Hong and Wayan David Wang, both 20, in the apartment he shared with them. A friend of Rodger's housemates, George Chen, who was 19, showed up later by surprise and was stabbed 94 times by Rodger. This showed his unbelievable anger towards the world, as he was capable of doing something so brutal to an innocent teenager. He then left his apartment, heading to the Alpha Phi sorority house, where he would knock on the door in hopes to kill everyone inside. But no one opened the door for him. So he proceeded around the corner, where he shot and killed 22-year-old Catherine Cooper and 19-year-old Veronica Weiss. Another woman, Bianca DeCock, was left with multiple gunshot wounds, but survived. He targeted a sorority because he wanted to harm the women who he claimed he wanted the most, but would never want him. Authorities said Rodger then went to a nearby deli filled with students where he opened fire, hitting 20-year-old Christopher Michael Martinez in the chest, killing him. He went on to ram into multiple people with his BMW coupe, hitting Nick Pasachuk and breaking both his legs, before crashing into a parked car. As deputies went to arrest him, they pulled him out of the car dead, with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Rodgers had planned this attack in a series of YouTube videos, posting a video called Elliot Rodger's Retribution, right before his attack.
Well, this is my last video. It all has to come to this. Tomorrow is the day of retribution. The day in which I will have my revenge against humanity. For the last 8 years of my life, ever since I've hit puberty, I've been forced to endure an existence of loneliness, rejection, and unfulfilled desires, all because girls have never been attracted to me. Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me. I'm 22 years old, and I'm still a virgin. I've never even kissed a girl. I've been through college, for 2.5 years. More than that, actually. And I'm still a virgin. It has been very torturous. College is the time when everyone experiences those things such as sex and fun and pleasure. But in those years, I've had to rot in loneliness. It's not fair. You girls have never been attracted to me. I don't know why you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all for it. It's an injustice, a crime, because I don't know what you don't see in me. I'm the perfect guy. And yet you throw yourselves at all these obnoxious men, instead of me, the supreme gentleman. All those girls that I've desired so much, they would have all rejected me and looked down upon me as an inferior man if I ever made a sexual advance towards them, while they throw themselves at these obnoxious brutes. You never showed me any mercy, and so I will show you none. All you girls who rejected me and looked down upon me and, treated me like scum while you gave yourselves to other men. And all of you men, for living a better life than me, all of you sexually active men, I hate you. I hate all of you. I can't wait to give you exactly what you deserve. Utter annihilation.
Roger seemingly lived a life of privilege. He drove around in a BMW, which was a birthday gift from his parents, lived in a nice house, and was the son of a reputable Hollywood director who worked on The Hunger Games. However, underneath the surface, his hate for women was consuming him, and he was an extremely tortured soul. Moments before Rogers carried out the attack, his therapist called his mother to alert her of an extremely alarming email from her son, which contained a deeply disturbing 137-page manifesto titled, My Twisted World, the story of Elliot Rodger. In this manifesto, he detailed his life story from a pleasant childhood to traumatizing teenage years, to finally writing about the attack he had planned. In the intro of the manifesto, he wrote, quote, "Humanity, all my suffering on this world has been at the hands of humanity, particularly women. It has made me realize just how brutal and twisted humanity is as a species. All I ever wanted was to fit in and live a happy life amongst humanity, but I was cast out and rejected, forced to endure an existence of loneliness and insignificance, all because the females of the human species were incapable of seeing the value in me. This is the story of how I, Elliot Rodger, came to be. This is the story of my entire life. It's a dark story of sadness, anger, and hatred." End quote. After his death, Elliot Rodgers became a, quote, hero within the incel community, many giving him praise for what he did, some even wishing he had killed more people. They shared very shocking comments on forums such as, quote, "I will have one celebratory beer for every victim that turns out to be a young woman between 18 and 35, end quote. Some went as far as to print shirts with his face on them. He was seen as an inspiration to many, notably Alek Minassian, who praised him before committing his rampage in Toronto. Police found out that Minassian corresponded with Rodger on the message board website 4chan and formed a sort of friendship, stating that the two, quote, found each other very interesting. To their utter dismay, police also found out that Rodger had apparently informed Minassian of his plan a few days before he carried it out, to which Minassian wished him good luck. This is even more blood on Minassian's hands, because he could have alerted authorities and saved the lives of 6 innocent people. It's also important to note the dates in which these massacres happened. Elliot Rodger's attack was carried out on May 23rd, and Alek Minassian's attack was carried out on April 23rd. According to his manifesto, Rodger had originally intended to enact his plan a month before he actually did it. However, woke up with a cold the day of, and decided not to, fearing it would interfere with his plan. This is more evidence that the two corresponded, and, furthermore, might have intended to collaborate in the so-called incel rebellion, and Minassian carried out his attack on the originally discussed date to stick to the plan, so to speak. Alek Minassian is currently in jail, awaiting his trial on November 9th of 2020, after having it pushed back many times due to the pandemic. As of June 2020, the RCMP is getting ready to add incels to the Terrorist Awareness Guide. as the police force recognizes incel attacks as a form of violent extremism. The incel threat is very real, as these individuals are very susceptible to being radicalized. A lifetime of rejection and depression mixed in with theories like the black pill, which almost advertises hopelessness, and many online forums filled with individuals who encourage these attacks, proves to be the exact environment in which a damaged individual might make the switch from lonely outcast to mass killer. As Mike Arndfield, who is a criminologist at Western University in London, Ontario, often says, these people are extraordinarily dangerous. As soon as you have a suicidal, disoriented male, all bets are off in terms of what they're capable of doing. Many are suicidal and some are homicidal. This group has an organization to it." End quote. What can be done about the involuntary celibacy problem, however? Many have come up with certain hypothetical ways to at least lower the problem, such as government-subsidized legal prostitution or mandatory free therapy sessions for individuals who may be at risk. The problem with these, however, is that they are merely treatments for the problem, not a cure for the root cause. For now, all we can do is try our best to stay safe, take precautionary measures, and pray for the people who have lost their lives and their families. If you know anyone who has expressed any radical sentiment or threat, please do not be afraid to report them. As harmless as you think it may be, these individuals are essentially living on the edge, and any little disturbance can set them off. If anyone watching this video is feeling depressed or suicidal, please don't be afraid to talk to someone, or email us here, therealpsychology@gmail.com.